Well, this is seriously late, but here we are, how powerful War from Darksiders. Now, one thing I would like to point out right now is that the game Darksiders didn't really offer a lot of impressive feats for War, but it's heavily implied that War is significantly stronger than what we actually see. But so yeah, let's just get into the physical traits. In terms of physical strength, War is easily superhuman, overpowering demons, angels, like just effortlessly, and then he can also even move train flatbeds. He actually uses it to slam it into one of the bosses over and over again. It looks like a really cool game. In terms of speed, he can, so obviously superhuman in terms of strength. In terms of speed, and keep in mind this is also War when he's weakened. At the end of the game, he defeats the Destroyer, who is more powerful than any other being he actually encounters, with possibly the exception of Samael, which is a demon who guides you throughout the game. But I'm not really. I'm gonna leave that for the further thoughts video. So yeah, no, this is weakened War doing this. In terms of speed, he can keep up with angels, demons, and even beings called old ones. He could also clash with an old one in terms of physical strength, if I remember correctly. But I believe the old one was significantly stronger. So yeah, he's superhuman in terms of both speed and strength, but he's significantly more of a brute strength kind of character. So he's not exactly moving around at light speed every single time, if you catch my drift. In terms of agility, he's fairly agile, being able to leap massively up into the air. I believe at one point in the game, if I remember correctly, he leaps up into the air, slicing through a serpent-like creature. And that was pretty cool. He can also fly for a limited time with shadow wings, so that's pretty cool. War is also extremely durable, again, superhuman. And while the feats in the game don't seem very impressive, he's implied to be vastly stronger than he's shown, as stated earlier. He was killed early on in the game, but then he healed back the damage, or he was revived. The Versus Battle Wiki has him at Immortality Type 3, where he can just heal back after he gets killed, apparently. So I guess that makes the most sense. Either way, he dies at the beginning of the game, and then comes back after being held by the Council for a long time. I believe they're called the Ash Council, if I'm not mistaken. I did the research on Sunday, and I just compiled the script right now. So yeah, I don't remember the specifics on certain things being called. In terms of powers and abilities, War has space and time manipulation, fire manipulation, soul manipulation, summoning, blade manifestation, portal creation, can cross through dimensions, and can see through illusions. He also should be a master combatant and seems to be fairly intelligent. A lot of these abilities are purchased via wraith abilities, and I believe some of them are directly items that I'm not sure if I actually mentioned or not, because I mentioned them here in terms of powers and abilities. But yeah, I believe space and time manipulation are items. Or at the very least, I know time manipulation is. No, he gains the ability to use, I believe, something called a Chrono Spear, which is what manipulates time, not War directly. In terms of weapons and gear, he has a sword called the Chaos Seether, or I believe that's what it's called, which allows War to absorb chaos energy and transform into his chaos form. This weapon can be enchanted. I won't go into details on the enchantments. What I'll end up doing is I'll just link the wiki page, because they have the enchantments. But this gets replaced by the Armageddon Blade, which is a much more powerful sword and is actually significantly more important to the story, because it's kind of what sets everything into motion. But I won't say anything more without spoiling anything. Another weapon he gets is the Crossblade, which is just essentially a throwing star. Then there's the Tremor Gauntlet, which can throw massive objects being dragged around, and is also used to break down blue rock barriers, but it's a gauntlet, so, you know, punching people. His next weapon is a Scythe that can be upgraded with things like life leeching and so forth. As I mentioned earlier, it can be enchanted. It has a greater reach than the swords, and has a more powerful form known as the Harvester, which grants more souls per kills. However, the Harvester could only be acquired via a code in the original game, and then according to the wiki, in the updated version, it actually can be just bought right off the bat, so that's kind of cool. He also has Mercy, a revolver owned by Strife, because the Four Horsemen aren't the Four Horsemen you might be thinking of. It's War, Death, Strife, and Wrath, I believe is the last one. I'll talk about that later on in the further thoughts video after I'm done with War. But yeah, no, so apparently Strife uses revolvers. The one War gets, Mercy, doesn't need to be reloaded as it generates its own ammo, but it does deal less damage than its counterpart, which gets acquired by Death, which I'll talk about over there. But from the way the wiki implied it, it seemed to imply that it didn't generate its own ammo. But I'll talk about the other weapon and Death's weapons when we get over there. Then he has something called the Abyssal Chain, which allows War to essentially pull things or drag himself to things. I don't know. Think Scorpion's hook combined with hook shot. Or anything that lets you drag things around. Then he has something called the Void Walker, which allows Ward to create portals on certain surfaces, and he also has a horn to awaken tormented gatekeepers in the game. Ward can also transform into a Chaos form, becoming invulnerable and massively more powerful. This form appears as a much larger flaming demon with flaming wings and sword to boot. No other powers can be used in the Chaos form. I will have further thoughts on this, on these two games and their characters, because from what I've seen of Dead's game already, and from what I saw of Darksiders 1, the game seemed fantastic. I'm really surprised they didn't make a third game, or if that's in development or not, but whatever. I'll talk about that when I get to it. So thank you guys for your time, as always, and have a good night.
War, are you here to play execution? They should have sent all 4 of you.
I have no interest in killing you, Samael.
Ah, the Destroyer! He's beyond your reach, beyond mine.
Has prison made you a coward?
Perhaps there is a way.